The cop called him nobody until the silence of the street became louder than his badge. You never know who you're talking to, so treat everyone like they matter, because they do. It was 10:42 p.m., downtown Atlanta, the kind of night where the fog clings low and the streetlights flicker like they're trying to whisper secrets. Officer Travis Rudd had already run 2 patrols and was itching for something to break the monotony. That's when he saw it. A matte black Mercedes-Benz S580 idling at the curb near a closed jewelry store. No front plates. Windows tinted deeper than legal. No movement inside. Travis narrowed his eyes, his fingers curling over the wheel. "Here we go," he muttered, flipping on his cruiser's red and blues. The light danced off wet asphalt as he pulled behind the car and radioed dispatch, his voice low but sharp. "Possible 10 to 16, black male driver, suspicious vehicle, no tags. Approaching." He stepped out, adjusting his belt, hand grazing his holster, not drawn but close. The rain had started, a light mist that blurred reflections and distorted intentions. The Mercedes didn't move. Travis approached the driver's side, tapped the glass once, twice. It slid down silently. A man in his late 30s looked up, calm eyes meeting his. "Evening, officer," the man said. His voice was low, deliberate, polite. Travis didn't reply. His gaze swept over the tailored navy blue suit, the pressed shirt, the gold watch peeking from a crisp cuff. Too clean, too smooth. Something felt off. "License and registration," Travis said. "Step out of the car." The man raised an eyebrow. Not defiant, curious. "May I ask the reason for the stop?" Travis squinted. "You can ask when you're standing on the sidewalk." The man didn't argue. He opened the door slowly and stepped out. He was tall, lean, moved like someone used to being watched. "My name is Eric Monroe," he said, offering the documents. "Is there a problem, officer?" Travis ignored the question, circled the car. His voice was louder now for show. "Nice ride." "Yours?" "It is." "Sure it is. You win the lottery, Mr. Monroe?" Eric didn't answer. His silence only added weight to the moment. Travis stepped closer. Too close. "Got anything illegal in the vehicle? Weapons? Substances I should know about?" "No," Eric replied, voice steady. "Nothing illegal. But I do have something else you should see." With deliberate slowness, Eric reached into his inside jacket pocket. Travis's hand darted to his belt, hovering. "I'm reaching for a badge," Eric said calmly. "Not a weapon." He pulled out a leather wallet, flipped it open. The gleam of the gold badge hit Travis's eyes first, then the ID, the seal of the U.S. Department of Justice. Eric Monroe, Deputy Director, Internal Affairs Division. Travis froze. A beat of silence stretched between them. Then Eric spoke again, quieter this time. "You stopped me for sitting in my car. No call for backup. No report. Just assumptions." Travis stammered, but nothing followed. Eric looked down the street. A bystander stepped out of the shadows across the way. Hoodie up, phone pointed straight at them. "Got it all on video," the man mumbled. Start to finish. Travis's face flushed. "Look, maybe this is all just..." "Don't." Eric cut in, finally raising his voice just slightly. "This isn't a misunderstanding. This is a pattern." He reached into his car again, pulled a tablet from the passenger seat, swiped, opened a file. A dash cam feed appeared, time-stamped clean. It showed Travis, 2 hours earlier, pulling over a different black man. Younger, jeans and hoodie. No citation, just pushed against the wall. No call to dispatch. No paperwork filed. Travis's breath caught. "You're being watched," Eric said. Tonight was confirmation. Internal Affairs has had complaints. This is just one of many. Travis looked up, eyes darting around the street like escape. Routes might suddenly open. Then a second car pulled up behind the cruiser. Black, unmarked. 2 men in suits stepped out. Federal plates. One nodded to Eric. "We're ready when you are." Travis took a step back. "I didn't know." "Exactly," Eric replied. "You didn't know. That's the problem." Another silence stretched, and for the first time, Travis looked small beneath the red-blue flash washing over the dark street. "I could write you up right now," Eric said, stepping closer. "Suspension. Investigation. But this isn't about you anymore." Travis blinked. "Then what is it about?" Eric turned toward the bystander. "It's about how many people you've stopped like this, and how many didn't have a badge to protect them." The bystander lowered his phone and gave a small nod. "You're one of the good ones." Eric shook his head. "I'm just one of the loud ones." Another voice came from the second agent. "We have something," he called. "You need to see this." Eric walked to the other car, the rain now heavier, dripping off his coat. He leaned into the passenger side, stared at the screen the agent pulled up. It was security footage. Same street. Same hour. Another cruiser. Another man. But not Travis. Different cop. Same pattern. Same unjust stop. Eric's brow furrowed. This wasn't even part of tonight's run. He turned to the agent. "How'd you get this?" The agent hesitated. "Anonymous tip. Footage started hitting a burner site 30 minutes ago. Someone's leaking before we are." Eric's eyes narrowed. "That's not good." He looked over at Travis, now standing near his cruiser, visibly shaken. "Someone's trying to get ahead of us," Eric murmured. Then his tablet buzzed again. He looked down. Live audio stream from Monroe Vehicle 004 disconnected. His eyes darted to his car. The dash cam feed, dark. Eric slowly looked around the street. Across the way, near the closed storefront, a man in a gray hoodie sat on a bus stop bench. Still, watching. Same hoodie. Same face he'd seen 3 times in 3 cities in the last 6 weeks. Eric's jaw clenched. "I'm being followed." The agent turned. "What?" Eric stepped back. This wasn't about Travis. He's a thread, but the rope's bigger, and someone doesn't want it pulled. He turned back to Travis, now pale, now silent. "You're lucky, Officer Rudd," Eric said. "You get to walk away from tonight. Others won't." Travis opened his mouth, but said nothing. Then Eric turned to the agent. "We need surveillance on the DOJ site in Midtown. If this is leaking from the inside, we're already compromised." The agent nodded. "I'll make the call." But before they could move, a loud crack echoed from the alley behind the jewelry store. Everyone froze. Another flash, like light bouncing off glass. Eric drew a breath. That wasn't lightning. He turned back toward the bus stop. Empty. The man was gone. Only the rain remained. And the realization that tonight wasn't just a sting. It was a warning. He thought the storm ended that night, but the real operation had just begun. Eric Monroe sat still, eyes locked on the photographs pinned to the wall of his DOJ field office. The man in the hoodie. The same frame. The same casual posture. Not a ghost, not random. No face ever showed clearly, but Eric had learned that when a shadow shows up this many times in this many cities, it's not coincidence. It's surveillance. His fingers drummed on the edge of his desk. Something deeper was unraveling, and Officer Travis Rudd, the aggressive cop who tried to corner him in Atlanta, was just a start, a pawn, and now the board was shifting. Agent Pierce entered the room with a folder in hand, face pale, jaw tight. He tossed the folder onto Eric's desk. Anonymous footage from last night's encounter had already leaked online. A video clip, uncut, unfiltered, captured from an angle not even their own body cam could cover. The camera angle was high, like a drone or fixed street lens, but none of the cameras on that block were supposed to be operational. That alone was disturbing. The IP the video uploaded from was already wiped, cleaner than even DOJ techs could trace. Someone was watching. But worse, someone was leaking. Pierce sat opposite Eric, voice low. "This isn't just local corruption anymore. This is infrastructure." Eric opened the folder, eyes moving over the printed stills. There were frames of Travis speaking into a second radio, not his issued one. Eric enlarged one image, and there it was, clear as day. Travis giving a soft report into a small receiver. Target in position. Confirm Mercedes. Badge ID 3791. Proceed. Badge ID 3791. That was Eric's, his personal Doge ID. A knot tightened in Eric's stomach. Travis wasn't just profiling a black man in a Benz. He was sent for him, used as bait, which meant someone inside DOJ fed him that information. And if they knew his badge ID, they had access to files that were supposed to be top-level encrypted. The question now wasn't just who sent Travis, but how far did this go? Eric's burner phone buzzed once on the desk. A coded message blinked across the screen. Midtown blind. Surveillance down. His heart dropped. The Midtown DOJ office was dark. Live camera feeds gone. Surveillance blackout. Either a breach or worse, a takedown. Eric stood instantly, grabbing his coat. Pierce followed without a word. They moved locations fast, hitting Safe House 4, a DOJ brownstone wire for intel emergencies. Agent Gina Lopez was already inside with a hard drive spinning. She didn't speak. She just hit play. The video loaded body cam footage from Travis. Not just at the stop, but 10 minutes before. Travis talking on that second radio. Calm. Professional. Badge ID confirmed. Stand by for engagement. Eric clenched his jaw. That wasn't an out-of-control cop. That was an operative. And whatever he was part wasn't just about race or routine abuse. It was an organized mission. He had backup. He had timing, which meant this had layers. Gina paused the video, pulled up a log of system access. DOJ servers. Internal logins. Files pulled from Eric's misconduct archives. Cases from Baltimore, Cleveland, Sacramento. All had been accessed within the last 48 hours. The breach was coming from inside DOJ command. Someone was collecting the case files Eric had compiled on wrongful policing patterns. But they weren't erasing them. They were extracting them, building something. Pierce leaned forward. A hit list? Eric nodded. Or a roadmap? Gina spoke up for the first time. Why wouldn't they just delete the files? Eric looked at the feed, then back at the wall. Because they're not just silencing stories. They're preparing for something bigger. What if they want these cases? What if they're setting a trap? Moments later, Eric received another alert. The Midtown surveillance van had gone dark. Feed static. Agents unresponsive. Tactical movement confirmed in the area. But no sign of who executed the sweep. Eric knew then. Someone was flushing out every trace of the misconduct network he'd built for 3 years. Surveillance wasn't enough anymore. They were scrubbing presence. He exited the safe house and drove 2 blocks toward Doge HQ to assess the situation himself. That's when he saw it again. The man in the gray hoodie, sitting at a bus stop bench. Same street, same posture. But this time, he wasn't watching Eric. He was watching a rooftop surveillance cam. It was following Eric's car. Live. Tracking. The system Eric had trusted was no longer theirs. It was being overridden. Eric's Bluetooth buzzed. Pierce's voice crackled through. We've been made. Get out of there. Eric's dashboard lit up. A flashing message appeared on the in-car tablet. Run while you still can. The engine sputtered. Died. The doors auto-locked. System override. Screen flashed again. File 3791 closed. Target neutralized. He scanned the street. The gray hood was gone. But in the side mirror, 3 figures were walking up. Tactical. No badges. No insignia. They didn't hesitate. They moved like they'd done this before. He reached under the seat for his concealed sidearm. Finger on the grip. The lead man stepped into view, and Eric froze. He recognized the face. A man presumed dead. A former DOJ enforcer turned whistleblower who vanished 6 years ago after testifying against illegal government surveillance operations. But he wasn't dead. He was standing there now, alive, calm, eyes locked on Eric like a hawk finally cornering its prey. Long time, Monroe, the man said, voice flat. Shame it ends here. Eric didn't speak. He scanned the angles. No easy exits. No allies in sight. Just rain on the windshield and the sudden, creeping truth that this wasn't about police reform anymore. This was war. The man stepped closer, tapping twice on the driver's side glass. You dug too deep. You kept the wrong files. And now they want them back. Eric met his stare. You were the leak. The man smirked. I was a plug. Behind him, one of the others lifted a device. Signal jammer. No comms. No help. Just silence. The same silence that swallowed cities when power cuts, when justice collapses, when truth disappears. And as the door handle began to jiggle, Eric whispered to himself, "You never know who you're talking to, so treat everyone like they matter, because they do." Then he raised a gun. But before he could aim, a blinding flash exploded through the window from the alley. A second team entered the street from behind. But were they backup or something worse? Eric dropped low behind the dashboard as bullets tore through the passenger glass. The windshield cracked. The street was filled with smoke. Someone screamed. And then nothing. Just silence. Again. But this time it felt final. They thought silencing him would end it. But truth has a memory, and justice has a pulse that never dies. Smoke filled the shattered shell of the Mercedes as bullets cracked the windshield and sliced through the doors like whispers of warning. Eric Monroe stayed low, blood trickling from his cheek, his pulse a steady thrum of adrenaline and instinct. He didn't shoot. Not yet. He didn't need to. Not when every move was being recorded by the tiny lens embedded in his belt buckle, broadcasting directly to a secured DOJ uplink no one could intercept. He'd planned for this. He just never thought it would come so fast. Outside, the man from the past, the so-called dead whistleblower, barked orders at the tactical team. Get the drive. Burn everything else. Eric slid the encrypted flash drive from his pocket, the one with all the files. Not just Travis's stop, not just Atlanta, but dozens of cases, police abuse, tampered evidence, internal corruption networks, hidden audio tapes, off-book arrests. Everything he'd collected in secret since the day his younger brother was beaten by two plainclothes officers who mistook him for someone else and left him in a coma. That night changed Eric forever. It taught him that a badge could either be a weapon or a shield, and he chose a shield. That drive was never about revenge. It was about proof, truth, accountability. And now, people who once wore the same badge as him were trying to bury it. But the twist they never saw coming? Eric had already made the drop. The drive in his hand was a decoy. The real files were already live, time released, scheduled to upload to 3 major outlets, encrypted to unlock only if he failed to check in by midnight. That deadline was 90 minutes away. The man in the gray hoodie appeared again, stepping into view like a ghost returning to collect a debt. He was younger than Eric expected, late 20s maybe, clean-cut beneath the disguise. But the look in his eyes wasn't youthful. It was hollow, trained, detached. A contractor, not a cop, one of the new generation. Privatized enforcers hired by black-budget programs to do what sworn officers legally couldn't. "He's still alive," the hoodie muttered, nodding toward the car. "Finish it." 2 of the men raised weapons. Eric closed his eyes, and then a crack pierced the chaos, not from a gun. From above, a floodlight clicked on. A voice echoed down the alley. "Federal agents! Drop your weapons." In a flash, shadows descended from the rooftops. Real agents this time, led by Gina Lopez and the second DOJ strike team Eric had secretly tipped off before leaving the safe house. The firefight was short, precise, devastating. 3 men were down in seconds. The hooded one tried to flee, but Gina caught him with a clean takedown near the dumpster. The traitor, the ghost from the past, was cornered by Pierce, hands raised, smirk fading. "Didn't think you'd come back for him," the man said to Pierce. "Thought DOJ would bury his own." Pierce stared. "Not this time." Eric stumbled from the car, limping, bloodied, but alive. Gina rushed over, helping him upright. "You okay?" He nodded slowly. "I am now." They cleared the alley. Medics arrived. Arrests were made. But Eric knew this wasn't over until the truth was undeniable. Midnight came. The system pinged. And then, across 3 continents, stories broke. Video evidence. Leaked reports. Body cam footage showing brutal misconduct. A network of coordinated abuse protected by fake IDs and shadow agencies. The name Operation Spectre flooded social media. And in the center of it all, the video of Travis Rudd stopping Eric Monroe without cause. Then the badge. Then the silence. Eric's testimony, delivered in real time from a secure live stream, played like a movie. No anger, just truth. He stood before the country and told the story of a justice system stretched between duty and deception, of officers who chose power over service, and the cost of silence in the face of bias. The backlash was instant. Demands for reform, internal reviews, high-level resignations, and in the chaos, something unexpected happened. Officer Travis Rudd released a statement, not from a lawyer, from himself. He admitted it, the profiling, the extra radio, the orders from someone he never saw face to face. He named names, and then requested to testify publicly. Eric watched the news alone that night. Bandaged, tired, but satisfied. He never wanted glory. He wanted change. And for the first time in a long time, he saw it coming. He saw people standing up, speaking out, because they'd seen what could happen when someone refused to be silent, when someone chose to stand in the fire rather than walk away. As dawn broke, Gina walked into Eric's hospital room holding a folder. She handed it to him. Inside was a letter from the Department of Justice. Effective immediately, Eric Monroe was promoted to lead a new task force, an independent civilian integrated oversight unit, the first of its kind, built to monitor policing conduct with full federal authority. And the task force would bear his brother's name. Eric closed the folder, tears in his eyes. Not from pain, from purpose. He looked out the window. The city was still asleep. But truth never sleeps. And it never forgets. The badge he wore would always matter. But what mattered more was how he used it. The story began with a cop calling him nobody. But it ended with a nation remembering that justice isn't a privilege. It's a right. The moral? Power means nothing without purpose. Authority means nothing without accountability. And you never know who you're talking to. So treat everyone like they matter, because they do. If this story gripped you, follow for more and share this with someone who believes respect should never depend on appearance.